So this is the budget 101 worksheet, and this video is just a, tutorial for how to use it and yeah, just how to use it for your own personal use. So first, you'll want to make sure you make a copy of it. So make a copy, name it whatever you want to name it, and then make a copy, and then you'll be able to use it however you want. So over here on the daily activities, this is where you'll fill out, you know, whatever you're doing and the costs associated with it, as well as the dollars associated with it. So let's say you go to work, you can just aggregate it for the month if you want to. If it's whatever is easy for you, you can do it like day by day, or you can do it like for the whole month. So time spent, we'll just say it is for the month. So 160 hours. 60 hours for a month. And then over the course of the month, you went to the work cafeteria, lunchroom, whatever you want to call it. You bought, you know, breakfast and lunch there pretty often. So you ended up spending, say, about $250 for the month there. Really, the one thing that I try to get people to understand is how much some of these hidden costs that we don't think about add up to be. The lunch cafeteria is one of them, because it's just a $5 breakfast sandwich or my $6 chicken wrap. But over time, it adds up to being, it can add up to be a pretty significant amount of money. And we want to think about, alternatives if we need to cut back on that. So here on your monthly revenue, this is going to be your take home pay, what actually goes to your bank account. So not, your salary divided by 12 or, divided by, 26 for weeks for many pay periods. This is your take home pay. And if you work like a sales job or commission or anything like that, or you own your own business, this needs to be your average. So don't use, like your peak months. Do your average month so that you're giving yourself a fair budget. You don't want to overestimate your revenue, because you made it on when your revenues are at their highest, and that's not normally the case. If you're doing that, and then you'll be sticking to your budget, but you'll wonder why your finances aren't improving, and it's because you made the budget off of inaccurate numbers. And so we want to be as accurate as possible. So that needs to be, if you have a sales position or entrepreneur, or your entrepreneur, your monthly revenue needs to be a conservative average of your typical monthly income. So here, just gonna throw in 5,000. And the reason why we have time here is because we don't ever look at how we're using our time, as adults, similar to how we don't look at, where our money is going in our bank account. We rarely look at our time. So if you have goals that you are trying to achieve, you might be trying to learn a new skill, go back to school, get in shape, whatever the case may be. It's good to sit down and look at, hey, am I spending time in a way that's actually going to help me achieve my goals? And so if you are, or if you aren't, you're able to adjust accordingly. And so this is just something that this exercise helps with, is making us look at, where our time is going and how we're spending our time. So that's something that, so when you're doing this, be as detailed as possible, because it only helps you in the long term. And when you're reviewing when you're going through your bank statement, a credit card statement, it is easier for you to just list everything out individually. Um, that's perfectly fine. Uh, this can handle it all. The only thing is if like you say, oh, I went on a date with this person, and I went on a date with that person, with a new person, uh, just try to put all of that like under something like that's date night. Don't say went on a date with Crystal, and then I went on a date with Meg, the Stallion. I'm dreaming. But you wouldn't want to do that because over here it breaks it down into their own separate categories when you really wanted to aggregate. So just include everything under date night, under, one label like that, so that the table on the right can aggregate everything. So once you do that, then come over here and then provide justifications for, your spending. Your car is $650 a month. Do you need to be paying that much? Could you downsize your car? Housing, could you, do you have to be paying 1780? Do you have options or ways to downsize that? You'll want to look at after you've completed entering in all your daily activities. And then lastly, look at your balance, like see, hey, how much of a cushion do I have at the end of the month or at the end of my between paychecks? If it's low, you might want to consider, hey, okay, let's cut back on happy hours, like let's cut back on going on so many dates. Like let's make some adjustments here. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with doing any of these things, but we want to make sure that we're being balanced and that we're also achieving our long-term goals. Because that's where the ultimate benefit is. So next, and this is not the advice on how to purchase a house. This is just where we're turning our I goals strongly into smart advise goals. So if you are wanting to buy a house, get with a realtor, get with a loan officer. They'll be able to, give you guidance on how to finance and, even if you need a down payment, because I think there are programs out there that allow you to purchase a home without a down payment. But let's look into that. I'm just saying this isn't advice on how to buy a house, or how to, save for, or how to, on how to buy a house. We want specifics, so $9,000 down. That is measurable, yes, because you can, when you can count your money, when you have your when you have $9,000 in an account. Let's say by the end of the year, by year's end, is it attainable? This is, and you can answer this question, and then provide why it is. So say yes, we'll save, I don't know, $1,000 a month. And so, if you have, depending on how your financial situation is, you would answer it according to that. So if you can save $1,000 a month, then yes, the goal for getting 9,000 down by year end, that's 12 months, you'll be able to get that within a year. Um, so yes, that's realistic. And then once again, provide, answer that question. So is it realistic? Um, yes, I have $2,000 of disposable income. So that means that, I have $1,000. I'm saving $1,000 a month. I have $2,000 of disposable income. So yes, it's realistic. Now, if this was tighter, let's say, hey, I only have $1,200 of disposable income. Now it's a lot harder to say, yeah, I'm going to save, you know, 1,000 out of 1,200. Um, when you can spend $200 on a weekend. So it's just it's dependent on your situation and where you are with your income and all that. Um, but you just shape it for you. One thing about budgeting and setting goals is about you. Don't worry about somebody else's income. Don't worry about how much somebody else says they can save or what someone else's bank account is. This is all about you and getting yourself into a better situation. So whatever the reality are, right, whatever the realities are, whatever the facts are, let them be that and deal with them and then plan and adjust accordingly. Um, so really do what's best for you. And then time bound, um, yes, years in, it's by the end of the year. So how are you going to achieve this goal? Um, you can say, I'm going to set up recurring deposit every paycheck into an account for down payments. So that's just your action item for um how you're going to achieve that goal. Some of them might require more than one action item. You might have to say, hey, I'm going to cut back on spending on some other activities or items so I can accomplish this goal. So that's an example of how we're going to turn our goals into SMART goals. Just do your top three. As I said in the presentation, it's all about prioritization. So, get your top three. If this one is build up, this one should be number one if you don't have it. But just for an example, build emergency fund. And then, what does that look like for you? Hey, I want to have $2,000 for emergencies. It's measurable, it's attainable. Um, you know, just have it. Um, just go through the list and say, hey, here's how I'm going to achieve it. And then you're going to do that for 2 and 3. All right. So once we have that done, we're going to look at our new budget. So start with a new budget. You're going to put your revenue here. So I make same $5,000. Now the form automatically calculates some parameters for your spending. So this is your needs. So I have our big, our main three here. And then I have little notes here that say, hey, your housing shouldn't exceed more than 30% of your take home pay. Transportation shouldn't exceed more than 20% of your take home pay. So just little guidelines here, just to help you, um, create the new budget that is going to allow us to save so that we can begin investing in the future. And then like this will expose, hey, am I in a situation where, um, you know, my needs over here are taking up too much money. That's what this new budget, if that's what if that's what this exercise showed, that hey, I'm spending too much money. I need to cut back on housing and some other stuff. Then we'll put in our new housing here. So let's say, hey, gonna move into move into a cheaper apartment. Then how much is that gonna be? Say $1,300. And so now it once again it auto calculates, hey, if this is gonna be $1,300, then you only have $1,200 left on all your needs. Then if we look at our wants, um, so hey, so this is where you would say, okay, what's my budget gonna be for happy hours? And then we're gonna say, hey, I'm gonna limit it to 3 a month. So I gotta tell my friends, hey, I gotta start saying no to things. I gotta start saying no to, when coworkers ask me out. I gotta start saying no to, when my friends might ask me out. They might, there's some people that go to three happy hours a week. Um, and you just have to ask yourself, does that align with your goals? That align with what you want to be, with what you want to do in the future? Um, all right. So we're only going to go to 3 happy hours a month. Then setting our budget, we're only going to spend $140. Let's actually challenge ourselves. $120. Still 40. I guess like $100. I'm gonna spend $100 a month on happy hour. And then you would put in, just fill out your wants, and then watch your amount of money that you have to leave to that you have left over. Then we're gonna get to the savings, debt payment portion of the budget. So let's say I haven't been saving, but I want to start saving now. So saving, and then we'll just do $400. Credit card. I'm gonna pay that off faster. So pay balance in, let's say, 4 months. And then how much you're gonna dedicate to that? Let's say it's 400, the same amount as I was given. So you'll fill that out, whatever your debt payments, whatever those happen to be, and your savings. Fill that out completely. And then you'll be able to see, what your expenses are, what your revenue is, and what your balance is. And then you can kind of choose if you want to, increase if you want to increase, some of your savings or debt payments, that's totally up to you. Just increase it until it's zeroed out, basically. Um, if you're over here in your needs and you you see a area that you can cut back in, you know, that's that will work great as well. Just put it in here. And then here, it's a little redundant, but we want to put in our top 3 goals, um, just so that we are remembering to budget for our goals. If this is saving for a house, um, you know, is 400 a month going to cut it? Um, those are the things that we need to consider when we're doing this. And then when we're over here, we had just said, hey, gonna put down $1,000 a month. With a new budget, um, you know, we have to see if that's possible, if that's feasible or not. Um, so that is really the gist of the budget worksheet. Once you have this filled out, then you can save it, download it, print it out, whatever the case may be, um, and really use that to to guide your financial decisions in the future.